Thank you for joining me today, and today I want to bring you 10 ways that you can be a better server almost immediately. Now, if this is your first time here, please do subscribe. Hit the like button if you like this video. Leave a comment down below if there are any tips that you would like to add, or if you really enjoy this type of video, let me know down below so that I can constantly try to improve myself as well. So here we go. Number 1. Honor your posted hours. Now, this might seem like something that is more towards management, and yes, it is highly a management's responsibility to make sure that you are honoring your hours, but it also does fall on you as a server as well. How can you as a server make sure that you are honoring your hours? Well, this means that you can make sure that every single guest gets the same experience. So the guest who shows up at 5:30 when you open, the guest who shows up at 8 o'clock at your peak, and the guest who shows at 10:30 right before you close all get the same experience. Number 2, if the guest glassware is empty, fill it up. I have a very simple rule for that, and that is 1/3 and 2/3. If it is less than 2/3, then that is your area where you can top it off, but you should use your best judgment. If it is 2/3 or more, then let's say if you're going to the table, go and top it off already. If you have an empty hand, you're walking over to the table, check in on their food, it can be your in point on to find out how they're enjoying their meal. Instead of just walking over to interrupt their meal, go over, top off their water. While you're there, ask them how their meal was. If it's under 1/3, or should I say, if it's 1/3 or under, then you want to make sure that you're topping it off. You want to observe your tables and know, okay, they have less than 1/3, time for me to top them off. Number 3, never ask, do you need change? Always make sure that when you are receiving a cash payment, you bring the change no matter what. Now, have I been screwed over with the system? Of course. I brought change back to the table and they walked off without leaving me a tip. But guess what? That is part of customer service. I've had that plenty of times. I've had times where guests leave a really horrible tip for the staff. That's part of the game. That's how it comes. It's gratuity. It is not mandatory. It is gratuity. You end up biting the dust a few times. That's the way it goes. But it is a gesture that if a server asks me for change, which let's say I take my check, I receive my check, I get out my money, I put it on there, and I get up and I'm walking away. Then don't even ask, just take it. That I've left the tip there as well. But if I put the cash out, I'm still sitting there, I'm drinking my coffee, don't ask if I want change. Just immediately bring me change and I'll leave the appropriate tip. Number 4, always make sure to give me singles. Change that I can leave tip with. Now if I give you a 50, you might want to come back with a 20, a 10, a 5, and some singles. Now the next one ties in with the following one as well, but this one is to always offer me dessert. So many times I have not been offered dessert, or people just assume that I don't want dessert. For example, the place I'm employed now, we don't really have a huge dessert selection. We actually only have one item in multiple flavors. We basically just have ice cream. So too many times the servers don't even offer it. Matter of fact, sometimes I forget. That is a loss on a $6 sale. Now, if one person gets it, awesome. That's an additional $6 sale. That is an upsell for you. Don't forget to mention it. The next one is always to let the guests know what is available. So this ties into the last one. Might as well, let's just make it 1. So let the guests know what is available. If they order dessert, or let's say on the tasting menu, so you're not bringing them a dessert menu, offer after dinner drinks. Offer them coffee. They're not seeing a menu, they might forget it. Ask, would you care for an after dinner drink or coffee, tea, whatever it might be. If you don't offer it, it doesn't exist. That's how I look at it. Now, moving on. Knowing your menu. This seems like an obvious one, but you need to know what is on your menu. You need to know how each item can be served. For example, if you have a full service bar, a guest orders a whiskey neat. Let's say it is Macallan's Rare Cask, which on average is over $100 for a glass. and you brought it to them, an outrageous thing. Everybody knows what on the rocks versus neat is, but I guarantee you this has happened somewhere. Might have even happened on my watch. I'm not really sure. I've definitely had a guest request neat, and then the server misheard them and just put them on the rocks. I've definitely had that. So it is definitely possible. But doing something like this, not knowing what is on your menu or not understanding how each item is, can really backfire on you. A guest is allergic to sesame, yet you don't know that the salad has sesame and the kitchen screwed up. You served the sesame, the guest is now upset with you. They have an allergy, now they don't trust you. Trust goes a long way, and this is something that you can really do to help build that trust. This can also help you upsell as well. Many times I have had a guest who's ordered a drink at the bar, or they've ordered a drink from the server, and I notice they're low, the server's busy, so I go over to the table, chat with them, ask them if they would like another glass. They say yes. Awesome, great. Well, they're drinking the cheapest wine on the list. They're drinking a $9 glass of Pinot Noir. This is my opportunity to upsell because I already know what the menu is. I can say, oh, would you like the same? Or I actually have a great Zweigelt, which if you enjoyed the Pinot Noir, I think you would really enjoy. And let's say the Zweigelt is $5 more. You just upselled and you've added more money in your pocket simply by offering, simply by knowing what is on your list. Moving on, being observant and attentive. Again, a big thing about being a server is not just simply taking an order. It's not going over and say, here's your menu, here's your water, okay, what do you want? It's a whole list of things. It's being knowledgeable about your menu. It is being friendly. Another big one is being attentive and observant. Observe your guests. Observe them while they eat their first course. This will give you a good idea of knowing when to fire the next course. Be observant of body language. See, maybe they're not enjoying it. Maybe they look around for some salt on the table. You want to be vigilant of the sitting arrangement. This is something that has allowed me to build my customer service greatly. Partially because I am half Japanese and I spent some time in Japan, I am able to understand some of the cultures, but it has helped me with other cultures as well, understanding how different cultures behave and being observant to see how the table evolves and how they interact with each other. And going to the example of Japanese culture, there's a huge culture that the head honcho, the boss or the elder, will always sit with the back against the wall. This is kind of an interesting thing that continued on since the samurai age, but it's something that you can observe and know, okay, he's the head honcho, he's probably paying. Or when you approach the table and you're handing out menus, you can observe and there'll be one individual generally seated next to the head honcho who will be kind of communicating, figuring out what the table wants to get. He will be generally assistant to the head honcho, the boss or whatever. It'll be his secretary or whatever it may be. And he's going to communicate to you. So you know that's the person you want to go to when you're offering wine or you want to find out what they want to order. You can get those cues by being observant. They're going to appreciate that so much more. Instead of you going to the wrong guy, perhaps you go to the guy who's the guest and you ask him, oh, would you care for a bottle of wine? He's going to point at that guy because he knows that that boss is going to be paying and he doesn't want to, overstep. These are small things that you can get from being observant and attentive that can take it a long way and is going to help you get a higher tip average. Now, the next one is to observe what I call the 5 to 10 rule or the 10 to 5 rule. What is the 5 to 10 rule? The 5 to 10 rule is a rule that I practice all the time. So I acknowledge anyone within a 10-foot radius. So if I notice that my coworker is 10 feet away from me, I will make sure I get eye contact, observe them, make sure that they don't need any assistance. Perhaps the busser who's 10 feet away from me needs help bussing a table. Perhaps the server who's 10 feet away from me is having difficulty with a guest and needs my assistance. That is the 10-foot rule. Then you have the 5-foot rule. The The 5-foot rule is to make sure that you not only acknowledge, but you go beyond that for anybody who is within 5 feet of you. So you want to make sure that if you have a guest within 5 feet of you, you smile, you nod, you say hello, you say thank you, have a lovely night, whatever it may be. Now, I extend this again to my coworkers as well. Who doesn't want to be smiled at, right? Makes for a better work environment. So make sure if you're within 10 feet, acknowledge. If you're within 5 feet, smile, nod, say hello, have a good night, welcome. Can go a really long way in making the guests feel welcome and your coworkers feel like they're appreciated and that it's a friendly work environment. Now, when you say, how's everything, or how was your meal, you want to make sure you actually do something about it. If you ask a guest, how's your meal, and they say, oh, it's okay, try to find out something about it. Perhaps maybe that's just the guest, that's the way they are, but put that in the back of your head that you want to observe that table and make sure they enjoy the rest of their meal. Or if they say that the fries are too salty, oh, may I prepare you another batch, another order, or whatever you want to call it. Now, the next one also ties into that. You don't want to be asking, how is everything? You never know. Maybe that guest had to put down the dog or cat. Maybe they had a really bad day at work, and you're reminding them of that. Everything is very broad. It's also not eliciting the answers that you want. You want to be asking specific questions, and the way I look at it is, imagine that it's a 12-course meal, and you want to check in on every course to make sure that they're really enjoying themselves. How do you get away with that without being redundant? You don't want to check in first course, how's your meal? Second course, how's everything? Third course, how's your meal? Fourth course, how's everything? That gets redundant and boring really fast. The guest is going to be saying, oh my God, why is he still asking the same darn question? But if you make it specific, first course, oh, did you enjoy your first course? Second course, how was the foie gras? Third course, was the duck cooked to your liking? Whatever it may be, you can ask a very different question. Entree course, they're having a steak. Is the red wine I recommended working well with the steak? Right? You get the point. You're getting that kind of feedback that you want. You recommended something, you're getting the feedback you wanted. You want to make sure that you had made a good decision in offering that drink. Right. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, again, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below if you would like to see more videos like this, or if you have your ideas on what people can do to be a better server. Thank you again, and I'll catch you later.